Welcome everyone. Today we will introduce our another guest. She is Dr. Soha Akiki. She is president of Innovative Knowledge Institute, Paris Graduate School. She is from France. She has a vast experience in education. And around the world, we have a major challenges in education arena. So she has a brilliant thinking. She has very unique idea, and she will give solution for education system for around the world. So let's start. Dr. Soha Akiki, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine, and my team also very good. So let's start. Can you introduce yourself and your
Okay.
institute, how you work? Yes.
Okay. So, as Mr. Rana said, I am Suha Akiki. I am president of Innovative Knowledge Institute Paris Graduate School. I have been in academics for many years. I don't want to say the exact number. Huh? You will guess my age after.
Yes. Yes.
So, for many years as academics and also administrator. I was director of a private American university here in Paris for 17 years, let's say, yes, 17 years. And I decided in 2013 to open my own institution for higher education. And I opened it, and everybody thought I was crazy. And they told me, why? You have a big position, you have a great job. But during my experience, my many years of experience in front with the students on field, I learned a lot, and I saw the needs of the students, which means the system we are in nowadays in education, it's not compatible to all students. The system we have now, um, it's becoming a problem which was a solution few years ago. And when we find a solution now, it will become a problem few years later. So I said to myself, I have an idea. I want to bring uh, uh, something to my students because I saw they are not happy. Not all of them, please don't understand me. I don't know if you've heard of the engineer Wilfredo Pareto,
Yes. Yes.
ABC curve. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So he talked on causes and effects. So
Mhm.
we have, for example, he said 80% of the effects will be come from 20% of the causes. He was saying, like, for example, 20% of the highways bear 80% of the traffic. And in education, it used to be 20% of the students who are
Mhm.
not at all compatible with the system, and 80% are. Now it's really the way, it's the reverse now, because more and more students are dropping out. Why? There is a problem, because when we are in education, an educator, when he or she sees students leaving the system, leaving the school, it's like a heartbroken. We are heartbroken because we want the students to continue. We want
Mhm.
the students to learn. And that's what we are not seeing nowadays. Why? Because students are not happy. They are not fulfilling their passion. That's it. But when we see what's happening, and why is that happening? Because of this unemployment. Uh,
Mhm.
what I what I what I see here in France, for example, this year they are graduating 700,000 new students, new graduates will be on the job market. But how many do you think they will get a job?
Mhm.
Percent. Again, we are back to this concept, even 20%. The others, what they will do, they will go and find something which is not in their field of study, which is unfortunate. They have to find something in their field of study. So what the government is doing, they try to create help, financial aids for the companies, for the employers. Please hire new graduates. Why? Because you will be exempted from this social charges, you will be exempted from taxes, but please hire. But this is not healthy. It's not healthy. A new graduate, when he leaves a university, should find a job properly, normally, without any these plans. And here in France, really, the plans to hire new graduates have been one after the other for the past 30 years. Every year we had a new creative financial help for the employers, which is not normal, I think. And it's not the COVID-19 which is causing this. It was caused long before. Why? Because of the education system has to adapt. Education system nowadays is not, this is my opinion. Maybe other academics will not agree, which is normal. It's nice not to agree and to discuss and to make discussion with it, no problem. But what I feel that the graduates are leaving the university, they are not ready to work. They are not ready to work. They have no motivation to work. They have, to be honest, I was a teacher in a big public university in the northwest of France. I had an amphitheater of 400 students, even more, sometimes sitting on the floor. They don't have a space and they don't have a seat. I think these people are really following the lecture. If we don't interact in a lecture, how can we be interested in hearing what we are, listening what the teacher is saying? Which this has affected me a lot for really many years. For really many years, I realized, I said, what are they doing? Why we are not doing anything? And the students are in the job market, finding jobs not in their field of study. Why?
Brilliant. Yes, yes, exactly.
And it's not only Europe. I think it's worldwide. And we will be
Definitely.
coming. I have ideas to add with our discussion, but that's really important. A student has to find a job naturally, not with this help or with the other help or with no. He graduated. He has to find a job, and
Brilliant. Yes.
that's it affected me a lot. That's why I created my school. And how I created it, it's I want my graduates to be prepared for the future. It's a small school. It's a small institution for higher education. We are still small. We are getting slowly but surely. It's better. I don't want to miss steps. It's step by step. It's much better, especially for education. And so I realized, I said, this teacher coming to a classroom and standing up in front of his students, that, as we call it now, has been. We will keep few lectures like this, but having students listening to the teacher for 3 hours, that will be history very soon. It has, of course, you would tell me, maybe some teachers, they would say, I am a teacher, even if I am the director of a school, but I am a teacher. I'm first a teacher. And all my colleagues who are with me now, they were teaching with me as well when I was the director of this American university. And most of them followed me because we have an idea of the future education. It doesn't mean that putting the teachers unemployed. No way. What we are looking for is research and tutorial. Because no, it's only the question why they saw the problem coming and nobody addressed the problem. Why? We should question ourselves. Why the students are dropping out? Why the students don't like what they are doing? Why these we need to understand why all this happening. And so that's another point. Now, my my point of view, I feel so. Students now, the self-paced classroom will be reversed. We will have now, for example, the theoretical part. I feel that students should be on the job training. They have to, even from bachelor, not only from bachelor, they have to be on the job training, and also all the materials the school will be putting on the portal, on the platform. Because now each school has a platform. And even if before they didn't have, they will be planning to have, but with the COVID-19, it accelerated. And everybody will have in the coming months. And maybe others were thinking to have it in the coming years. Now it will be done in the coming months. Our platform was ready in 2014, but during the lockdown, we had to upgrade it with the IT. And that's what we did, because we are we are emphasizing on research, bachelor, master, and PhDs, all. Because, of course, the curriculum is the skeleton of a university program. We have to have a curriculum. We have to have many courses, and each course has its syllabus, and that's for sure. What we ask of the students now, what we are doing, the students take the syllabus and start doing their research according to the point we are adding on the syllabus. He has a problem, he has a tutorial per week, maybe 3 hours, maybe 1 hour. It depends upon what his needs are. The research comes. The research. They do the research. They write the paper. Of course, you would tell me now, because I'm against exams. Even when I was a student, I was against exams. I was completely against exams.
Okay.
But, yes, they have the assignments. What do you say?
Yes, it's interesting because you are against exam. So all of
Even
our
when I was a
students,
student, I did my exams. I didn't have the choice to get my degree, but I was really against exams, because you know why? Try to do an exam today and ask the students to do the same exam, or ask them question the second day. Again, 20% will remember what they studied. The others, once they are outside the exam room, it's over. It's over. What they want is an A grade. Fair enough. An A grade, they will get it, no problem. But that's why I was against. But when you do your research yourself, you work, you put your skills, you are motivated, you work hard, you use all your skills to do this research, you will never forget it. Yes or no? How can you forget your own work? That's it. But some people said to me, plagiarism. Okay, another story. Plagiarism, to be honest, we are facing less and less nowadays. Why? Because we have all these softwares like Compilatio, Urcon. We are using all these softwares, but we are facing other new plagiarism. Either the students didn't write himself the paper, he paid someone to write it for him or her, or he went to another language paper and translated it into French or English, because we are in France, whatever. But we are not that stupid. We know the capabilities of the students and their literacy in language, because they do their English test before entering the school. Of course, they do sometimes really good, but they are not really fluent. No problem. As long as they understand what they are talking about. That's very important. But what we see is when we tell them to do, because they have an oral presentation anyway, they cannot run away without an oral presentation. So when we see that the oral presentation is bad, which means they didn't do the job, or, but usually we are following them throughout the semester to see whether they are going step by step. We cannot leave them like this in nature, no way. But it's important to see how they are advancing with their assignment. And after, if I had one student, she came to see me, she told me, my oral presentation, I can't do it in English. I said, why? You did a great job, written job. Why you don't want to do the oral in English? She said, because I cannot. I said, no, you will do it in English, because she didn't do the job, because she didn't write the thesis. And we knew it because she never came to see us regularly. That's it. You see, so plagiarism, I'm not afraid of that. But in the past in the 90s, I have another story of that. My teacher, who was teaching research and methodology, she came to see me. She said to me, I have 4 students who plagiarized completely the full paper. I said, oh, well, we in the past we didn't have these software. We used to put a sentence on Google, and we have the full paper. So we found it that way. And when we asked them to come, I invited them into my office. I told them, you plagiarized. They said to me, no, we didn't. It's our work. I said, no way. It's not your work. It's the paper. We found it on Google. And they said to me, no, I did it. I said, how did you do it? And I showed them the paper. They said to me, yeah, but I typed it. Which means it's his work because he typed it. You see how things changed 20 years back, and now nobody will be ready to tell me this the stupidity, you see. But in the 20 years back, they could, because nobody knew yet. You see what I mean? So that's why I say education. So in the past, we had this sentence, now we have the software. That's why I feel I'm not afraid of plagiarism at all, because I see that students, if they are serious, they are on research, they do their job. They are adults. If they are not interested, they are not here. That's why that's first point. It's believe in the students that they will be autonomous, they will be working by themselves, and they will be responsible of what they are doing. After, I can say this is challenging the individual learning. We have to challenge the individual learning, because that's how we adapt in the future. The students will adapt, and they have to adapt, and because things are changing. If you tell me that they are not changing, it's not true. It's not normal. Many things are changing, and now quickly, very quickly. So we have to give them this possibility and this power to enforce their interest in something, and to be able to be active in changes instead of being passive in a classroom. That's very important. You see, when nowadays I teach sometimes human rights, because I am doing research on human rights and artificial intelligence. In human rights, sometimes people can, as I say, daydream in the classroom, because maybe it's not very interesting for them, or it's only articles. No, I don't do it that way. I take each article and start arguing in class. I want their point of view. Where are we? Where do we stand now with the human rights, for example? So they start interacting. But once you give them a break for 15 minutes, they come back, they are very excited. And to be able to bring them back, it takes us another 15 minutes. You see, that's why I say it's good to have like this social classroom sometimes from time to time, but not regularly. Not regularly. Better that the student work by him or herself, and after come to a lecture once every other week, or it depends. It depends. And I was talking with another director of a university here, and he said to me, "You are right, because we will have less premises, less expenses. Students work online, and they come every week or every other week for, and the ones who are international, they will be online with us." So that's also another point. Now, another point also, the research-based education. That's what we were discussing before going live. The research-based education, it's the students apply his knowledge, his research, and he will be motivated. He will be excited about his work. So why deprive them from this? See, and we are following this since 2013 and 2014. Since the creation of our school, it's all research based and tutorial all the time, because I believe classrooms are becoming obsolete. As I say, I'm repeating myself, but we have to repeat ourselves to be able to put it in the brain at the end of the day, because it's important. And again, of course, we will have this percentage. Sometimes people, how can I say? It's not they don't follow, they follow. But if they are not responsible and autonomous, they cannot do good research. That's why we have to be after them. So some students will require more attention than others in this research-based or project-based. So here, because some students sometimes, if you are not after them, if you're not following them, they can drop out. So we have to be careful about this, because it's a good tool for the students to express themselves.
Yes,
It's
yes.
important.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, this is basically very interesting. We want to move forward because your discussion is very interesting. Many audience already starting because discussions and asking questions.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes,
I will
I have
stop
also
and I
questions.
continue
So,
later. So.
yes, I want to focus on our audience first. Mohammad Shoail
Okay.
Rana, he's doing a lot of support for our program. He said, please tell us how we can justify the student improvement if we cancel the exam. Because this is very interesting. You have to understand, in Asia, exam is very strictly we follow. So how we justify? Maybe you have unique idea. Another audience, Araf Mehraz, he said, you are right. Individual learning and responsible is the main behind the development of a student. They agree with you and your approach. So can you help us to understand, without examinations, how a creative education system can justify student? Maybe it's a revolutionary in education system.
It is.
Yes.
But I don't
Yes.
want to have a revolution. No, no, no.
Okay,
Not
okay,
for
okay, okay.
everybody. Not for
No,
everybody.
yes, yes, definitely, but maybe.
I can't change the system in Asia. If they want to keep the exam, they have to keep the exam. Huh?
No, it's an idea
It's not
sharing session.
my job to tell them, no, you have to change. No, no, no. It's my opinion, as I said from the beginning, and nobody has to follow it. Okay, I am
Okay.
doing it, and the ones who like it, they follow it. The ones, because we are in a democracy after all. Each one will follow what he thinks is more suited to him to follow. But without exam, how can we prove that a student is advancing without exam? It's through his research. It's the learning outcome. What is the student learning from this course? Because in each course outline, we have a learning outcome. We have to put it. It's important to put it down. And we see on his research, did he respect the learning outcome? As simple as that. Exam, when you have multiple choice exam, I am against this. And I'm a teacher. It's very easy for me to correct. The easiest way, because most teachers don't like correcting papers. Yes or no? Do I agree
Yes.
with you? Yeah. So I don't like, but I hate multiple choice exams because I feel the students, okay, I take here, I take there, sometimes without thinking. They do it randomly, which is not normal. This is, are we respecting the learning outcome like this? Are we? When we do a research following the course outline and the students following the course outline, I feel that we are respecting the learning outcome. That's it, as simple as that. And when he writes, he does research, and after he comes orally and he explains what he or she explains her finding, and which is really relevant to her written part, perfect. That's really even better than an exam.
Yes,
So
yes,
this is
yes. One important thing, as you are expert in education industry, you have a year and year experience in education. So there is a huge change after this COVID-19, right? So now everybody, we are in online and we are moving with the online education. What do you think? What will happen next 5 years? This education industry,
yes,
how will we move?
yeah, education industry. To be honest, you see, for example, today's solution is going to become tomorrow's problem anyway, as yesterday's solution is now our problem, which is normal. We have to face, not to say problems, challenges. Let's
Exactly.
challenges. Yeah. So our today's challenge now, for example, this online, this online is was going to happen anyway, with or without COVID. But the COVID accelerated it to happen as soon as possible. You see, we have it's how can I say here? I forgot this. Anyway, so the online, we had even universities, distance learning, like Phoenix in US, long time ago. They were only online. They were only online, all their degrees online, and it worked. But after they tried to see, oh, no, 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 we need some physical presence, we need some people on site, on campus. And now, what's happening because of COVID? Everybody is going online. Everybody is working on their portal. Everybody is going on, put all their courses online. Cambridge announced that, Cambridge University announced that next year, no courses on site, all online. Even if you want to do an exam with a timer online, I tried it. I tried it with some students. To be honest, it's unfair for the student because, and especially, I used to be inspector in an accreditation, and we used to check if the percentage for the exam, final exam, 80%. But if the student was sick that day, what will happen to him? He will fail. I feel it's unfair. That's why I said to myself, it's better research and day to day. Hello?
Yes, yes, yes.
Uh,
We are
something,
listening.
something
We are
wrong with
listening.
you. Uh. So it's it's important that the students can prove that they are working regularly through all the year or through all the semester. That's why sometimes accreditations, the inspectors come, they don't know what does it mean being on field with the students daily work or weekly work or whatever. They don't know. They come up the criteria of the compliance here. Oh, okay, we take that's it, checklist, and that's it. No, that's not. We are not helping the student here. My my aim is to help the students, and the others, I don't care. Because if the student is here for education, it's for education. I have
Mhm.
also my graduates, they are doing webinars now with the
Mhm.
school. I am encouraging them. I had last Friday, one of my ex-PhD students did a webinar on burnout, and she is now practicing. She has a practice in Germany, and she is seeing patients, and she did a great thesis on burnout as well. So, Christos, you had my student
Yes, yes,
2 weeks
yes,
ago, 2 weeks
yes,
ago,
yes, yes.
and also he does lots of research. He publishes, and he is doing the webinar this week. This
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
you see, and I am going to ask the master students also to do a webinar. I want them to start with public speaking, with even online. It doesn't matter. It
Mhm.
is
Exactly.
an experience, is an exercise for them, and
Mhm.
you see, I want them to be more participative. I don't want them to be passive. A
Mhm.
student shouldn't be passive. He has
Mhm.
to participate in the school life, either uh, cultural activities, or whatever, or helping the schools as well. It's their alma mater at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. One of the major challenges we face, basically, let's say we produce 100 students from a academy or a university, but how they get their job, how they integrated with the job market, what your advice, and now actually what we produce in university, they are not very much useful for industry. How we can solve these things?
I think you are still lucky in Asia. You don't
Mhm.
have high unemployment as we have in Europe.
Mhm.
You are
Mhm.
still okay. I think you are okay for many years, huh? In Asia,
Mhm.
in general, Malaysia, China, India, Bangladesh. They are really because I have a teacher from Bangladesh, and I know that it's growing. It's becoming an emerging country with the
Mhm.
economy. And China, it's not anymore emerging country. It's now industrialized countries. It's civilized country. Yeah. So what I can suggest is the on-the-job training. Anyway, for example,
Mhm.
academics, if they do their PhD, aren't they teaching at the same time?
Mhm. Yes, there is a chance they can teaching in the same time. But
Yes.
example, there is a many people doing research, like how actually research can be integrated with the industry, or it will be helpful for industry.
Here, it's the research. It should be interesting to the industry. You see what
Yes,
I
yes,
mean?
yes,
If
yes.
you are doing a project which is not interesting to the industry, there is no chance you
Mhm.
can be accepted anyway. That's why I think the schools, when they have students, and when they want to do research, they have to be sure that their research will be accepted by the industry in the future after. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes,
It's
yes.
a useless research. It's useless. So don't do
Mhm.
it. Mm.
Yes. Okay. There is another important thing is that, like example, now many private organizations they are also focusing on education industry. How
Mhm.
we ensure quality education or quality of research, even example with the proper professors and this kind of thing.
Look at
What?
their academics. The academics are more important than anything in a school. The
Mhm,
professors. The professors are the pillar of a
mhm,
university. If
mhm,
they have good professors, regardless to accreditation, whatever you want, the teachers, the professors are very important. If they have good curriculum, if they have good research history, if they have a good number of publications, so that will be more than enough.
mhm. Yes, yes. Okay, ma'am. We want to move to the next step. So let's say we want to know more about France because we have many audience. They are already coming here. France is beautiful. France like heaven for everyone.
It's
And
not
you are
heaven. It's a lovely country. Yeah. Mm.
definitely. Can you
Mm.
share about your countries and the present condition in COVID-19? And we want to know more about you. You are also very energetic and very big scholar for us. So can you share with us? Yes.
Okay, France is a great country. Is
Mhm.
full of history, rich in history for
Mhm.
centuries. And the students, when they come to France, they have really very rich cultural life with
Mhm.
all the museums, the castles, the history. I love France. My origin. I am coming from Lebanon. I am
Yes.
born in Lebanon. I'm Lebanese,
Yes.
and
Yes.
after came here very young, and I am now more French than Lebanese because I lived more in France, and I
Mhm.
love France. It's
Mhm.
a wonderful country, and
Mhm.
I can't say heaven. Not all countries are beautiful. They are not heaven anyway. We cannot.
Mhm.
Nothing is perfect in life anyway. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's really beautiful. It's how can I say? Everything is beautiful there, really, and the food you can't you can't believe it. The food is
Okay.
even,
Yes. Yes.
and of course the wine and what else? Everything. It's and France has three is has borders with three seas. We have the Mediterranean, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Manche. You see,
Mhm.
and each area of France they have different cuisine, different way of life. It's really interesting. It's I don't know if I can say it's the most beautiful country of the world. I
Okay.
don't
Okay.
want to be, but really, it's worth visiting.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh.
One interesting thing, like example, I'm from Asia Pacific and you are from Europe. How we can integrate it in education industry and how we can do more research work together,
That
Asia
we
Pacific
can.
and
Oh, that
France.
we
Yes.
can. We can. It's
Mhm.
co-authoring research. It can be done. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, of course.
Mhm.
But here we have to work teachers alone together to see with the students if they can cooperate. And yes, this is a very good idea to do a co-authoring research. Yes, I agree. Mm-mm. We
Yeah,
can do it.
interesting.
We can do it.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Oh, okay. Like example, now we have everything locked down. Even our audience have lot of questions for online educations.
Mhm.
I have a specific questions. Like if all of our education go online, do you think that cost of education going down, or what your understanding about these things?
Because it's online, it should be down. No, no.
Okay. Okay.
It won't be lower than to be passive in a classroom. As
Mhm,
simple as that. No, no, it will be a good quality, I'm sure. They will, you have plenty of online libraries to do research. The most important also to collect primary data sometimes, so they have to move because
mhm,
secondary data you can do it online or on magazines, whatever books or whatever references. But primary data is when you create yourself your
mhm,
research, which is here it's going to be a little bit more complicated, unless because when you send a questionnaire, let's see, you want to do a research through questionnaire, you send questionnaires by email. Most of your emails will be in the dustbin
mhm.
to be objective. It's so that's why it's sometimes better to go and visit and do some the primary data, like also observations. Observations has to be done. We cannot observe people through screens, so you have to do it physically. Here, the primary data in research will be a little bit complicated, but all the secondary data will be done perfectly through internet.
Mhm. Okay, interesting. There are few more questions. Mohammad Sohail Rana, he asked you that online education tool are more effective right now. How we can do research on online education tool. Second things from Mr. Shahinul Press, I think he is from media. He said we need more and more research based education, but how we can develop our curriculum, whereas our system did not do this. Like example, there are some system error. So how we can do this? What's your opinion to develop this
Do you think
research?
in Europe they do? I am doing it.
Okay, okay, yeah, brilliant.
It
Yes,
depends
yes.
upon the school. It's their school. It's the school decision. It's a school decision, and of course, if we follow and if we respect the learning outcome, who can tell us we are not doing our job?
Mhm.
I feel I am respecting the learning outcome more than the ones who are in the classroom every day daydreaming.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think it depends upon, of course, your country. Of course, if the school don't want to follow it, they cannot follow
Mhm.
it. But the most
Yes,
important myself is to find a job after to my students. That's it.
yes, yes.
And
That's
I came across a documentary the other day on a European media. I don't want to name it. And they were, an employer was talking and he was saying, I don't want to hire degree holders. Full stop. He said it.
true,
And he said,
true.
I don't want. And I prefer hiring non-holders, non-degree students, and go on the job training and do some professional growth periodically. So I feel, which means, what does it mean this? Which means they don't believe in degree holders because they are not prepared. As simple as
Mhm.
that's why internships are very important, but not any internship, please. Internship in the field of study, which is not always the case. We tell the students go and do internship, they find something which is really nothing to do with what they are doing. That's not internship, I'm sorry. It's not only to do the papers that they did an internship, but what did we learn? Nothing. So important for the employers to adapt to their needs. Once the research and also our graduate to be ready to work.
Yes, yes, understand. One important thing is that when even I'm doing work, research related works, and I have heavily engagement with industry, but always industry thinks that this is true. We do not need higher educated persons. Industry always thinks that okay, research even maybe not too much of important these things, and in that difficult conditions how we can do more collaborations with industry and we can give them belief that research has a real beauty or research can help you to grow your organization or something. What will be the strategy? Because I am sure many of the scholar has same problem.
Yeah, we have to be in line with the industry. We have to contact the industry. I think we are not working enough close to with the industry. That's it.
True, true,
That's it. We need to be closer to the industry to
true.
understand more their needs and to prepare the students or the candidates. Candidates. I don't want to say students. Candidates uh, for the job. And here, I think even here we are lacking this. We need to develop it more and more. And I have one of my colleague. He is trying to work on. He has already worked with not work. He has already preparing uh, for placement of the students and talking with the industry to see how we can help the industry to be able to get our graduates placed after. That's why I don't care about accreditation. I want the students to work to find a job. That's it. Full stop. Because they can have accredited whatever it is, and they go out and they find nothing, which is not normal. They can find, some of them will find, of course, but the majority will not find. Where is the what is the where is the issue? Where is the advantage of it? But I want my students to. So you are right. We have to work closer with the industry, and that's what we are starting to do this year. We
Very
took
good.
a little bit time, but you see, I am smaller. It's taking time with me to organize all this.
No, no. Actually, one of our guests, if you follow our guest list, all of them from Asia, from Silicon Valley, from Europe, everywhere. Many guests actually come and join. They are very big scholar like you. Many effective people come here. So one of our guests say, I believe that small is beautiful, less is more. Yes, basically quality of work, if you go big, then problem. But step by step, if you move forward, so always he say, even he has a very big, like I think now projects in Nepal. So
Mhm.
and he's actually very good industrialist. He also involved with Liberation Wire, and he
Ah.
has a lot of achievements. So
Mhm.
he said, small is beautiful, less is more. So we also believe in that way.
You
So
see,
definitely.
small because we can control. It's
Exactly.
the control is
Quality.
still there. When it's too big, it sometimes you can lose control.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, man. So next phase example. Okay. There are many entrepreneurs in our forum, from Cyberjaya, like from Malaysia to Silicon Valley, even from
Mhm.
Europe. Many Asian entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
What do you think? A good researcher can be a good entrepreneur, because you are basically entrepreneur. What I can we can understand.
Yes, we
So
can. I am.
yes, yes,
I am a researcher and I am an entrepreneur. I
exactly.
created my school, and
Yes,
everybody
yes.
told me I'm crazy.
Yes, yes. So, what your suggestion? Like, how actually a effective researcher, a good researcher, can be a good entrepreneur? What how do you think? Because these things actually always media show. These people drop out from
Yes,
school. These
yes,
people drop out from here. These people drop out from here, and they are billionaires. But we want to know that.
yes. Not all researcher can be an entrepreneur. You know,
Yes, yes.
not all of them, but we can have. Let's bring back Pareto. 20% minimum can be a good entrepreneur, especially if they have the sense, because you know sometimes we say you have to learn sales, for example. No, sometimes sales it's innate. It's in you. You can you have sometimes people who never did business and they can tell you anything. It's important, but some entrepreneurs they have the ideas, they have the vision that this will work, this will not work, and I think some researchers they will need someone to help them to become entrepreneurs. Others they are entrepreneurs and researchers. It can be.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, yes. One thing, like example, now researcher basically develop vaccine and for this COVID-19. From your core experience, actually, can you give us some guideline? Actually, how we will get the vaccine? How actually researcher work on vaccine, or any basic idea, even for
I'm
our
not.
audience?
I'm not a medical specialist. I did,
Yes, yes.
although my bachelor is in agriculture, but
Okay, okay, okay. Yes, yes,
and
yes.
but to be honest, if the pandemics is over, why do we need vaccine? It's only a question.
Good question. Good question.
If it's not here, why do we need vaccine? If it's dying, and if we don't have a second wave, why do we need vaccine?
Mhm, mhm.
Even the flu, the yearly flu vaccine. I know some people who takes it and they are sick after during the year. So I think all these corona or flu, I don't think the vaccine works. I don't know. I don't know. It's my opinion and what I see. But when now we are having less and less cases, no more pandemics, and if we don't have another wave in the fall, why do we need vaccine? And anyway, even if we have a second wave, even if we have a second wave, the vaccine will be obsolete after if we have at least 50% of the population who got the antibodies. Why do we need the vaccine? I don't believe in this. It's me. Others maybe believe. Mhm.
Very interesting discussion. So, okay, so education industry already changed. Industry already go with different kind of technology based things. how do you think next 5 years? Do you think that globalization will come with a different idea, or example, technology will eat all of our duty and activities? What do you think?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. It's the
Mhm.
computers, all the IT is overtaking everything. They are overtaking data analysis, they are overtaking interpretation. It's the big data. But of course, if the human being doesn't put an accurate input, we will have a bad output, a wrong output, where we have wrong input,
Mhm.
wrong output, correct, accurate input, correct, accurate output. So, but of course, everything will be changing. Everything will be artificial intelligence. Look at your smartphones. And you know, I wanted to ask to tell you something that the students are smarter than the teachers nowadays with all the smartphones they are having. So it's uh, it's important to understand the future is completely artificial intelligence. Yes, we have to prepare ourselves to that. You see, we were preparing to the online education. I started it in 2014, and now everybody is following it because they are afraid to lose students. And yeah, of course, which is normal, it's their business. But after it will be artificial intelligence. Yes.
Mhm. Ma'am, you
Completely.
are talking about artificial intelligence. Already for this pandemic and this thing, many people lose their job. If
Mm,
artificial intelligence get entered to industry, like manufacturing, like what you are talking in education and everywhere, healthcare, everywhere
mm.
AI get in. So do you think like human job scope will go down, or what do you think? What will be the
I
job
want to
market?
ask you a question by a question. Do you think
Mhm.
all this unemployment we're having, why? Because we created robotics. Yeah,
Mhm.
of course, we created other jobs, but like one politician in France, he passed away now because he was very old. He said, "Do you want to understand why do we have unemployment? Ask the human being with the robotics. Now, artificial intelligence, it's gonna create more unemployment, of course, but it will create new jobs, but not at the same level.
Mhm.
Of course, always, always, we are going to face this in the future. That's that's the law. Huh? But I wanted to tell you something. I read something with on a UNESCO report about education. Let me read it for you before because I'm afraid we finish and we don't. I don't read it before we finish.
Not for me. There are huge audience actually. Already they ask you, they love you. They
Okay,
ask
okay,
very
I
much
will,
of
I will.
questions.
But let me
Yes,
read
yes,
this.
yes, yes.
Knowledge and learning are humanity's greatest renewable resources for
Mhm.
responding to challenges and inventing alternatives. Yet, education does more than respond to a changing world. Education transforms the world. And also another quotation from OECD, which said, learning to become the need to develop the capacity to imagine a good and fulfilling life. You see, and we faced problems and nobody had challenges. No, we shouldn't say problems. We don't have problems. Challenges. We faced challenges and nobody addressed them. That's a pity. We arrived to that point now. We need the students to be happy and to do something they like with passion. They shouldn't look at grades. Grades is nothing. What did you learn? Did you fulfill your passion? That's the questions they should ask themselves while being student. You see, when I was a student, I was a happy student, to be honest. I love. So that's why I wanted to remain in this field to be with youngsters because I love this life, and uh, it's. I used to love every single minute learning, especially when I was learning alone. Sometimes, yeah, because I like being by myself and work. And I like to be with others as well, socializing. You see, it doesn't mean that I am against socializing, no. But when I work, I like to have peace and work. That's it. And as I said, I hated exams.
Okay. 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 Like very interesting. Like example, if we can bring research, then without anything, so exam is possible.
Yeah.
One thing, like example, in Asia specifically, undergraduate research, many university trying to introduce, but it's not popular. But you
Mm,
also,
mm,
yes, yes,
mm,
even you also handle undergraduate research.
mm.
So how we can integrate it more with the undergraduate graduate research in Asia.
We have to respond to help them to become responsible because they are
Mhm.
still young, huh? And even at school now, there is a special system of schooling which is Montessori. They are really good, huh? They work on the strengths of the kid from
Mhm.
really elementary classes.
Yes,
And
yes.
but if you want to go on the system of the public schooling, they don't accept these kids. Why?
Mhm.
Why? You see, but these people, these kids, they come when they grow up, they really um, grow. They grow and they worked on their strengths and they are successful. You see, so everybody was against it because it's against the system, and they were against
Mhm.
schooling. It's a pity because really, and it's still there. It's a Swiss idea, but
Mhm.
the, the ones who are arriving to bachelor, of course, they are coming from school, they are really framed by their school, and they are afraid being, because sometimes when you put them in a university, they are completely out of control because they are happy. Now they are free. But I think here, if we have them in small groups and we can control them and we can give them this possibility to be a good researcher, they start from the first year bachelor, that will be perfect. We will have really good researchers after for the PhD
Mhm.
or master, of course. Mm.
Very interesting, ma'am. We are almost closing, but before that, we have two more questions. Number
Yes.
one, ma'am, we want to know more about European education system. Can you share with the European system? How do you want to explain the European Union and their education system? How we can understand?
Every country is different, but they are still really very classical education. Still the
Mhm.
same,
Mhm.
the system, as we say. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
It will be changing. You see, with this COVID-19, I'm sure it will be changing. Things will be changing because we still are. It's not clear. It's still unclear to know how are they going to work with the schooling next year. So, and with this, I am sure we will have many changes happening after.
Mhm.
For
Okay.
example, at the Sorbonne this year, everybody passed. Uh,
Mhm.
Everybody got 10 over 20 because of this COVID-20, and the university was closed since March. You see,
Mhm.
so we will see. It's really a question mark. How are they going to react to what happened?
Mhm. Interesting. And my final questions: what your advice for education industry for future education systems, or how do you think about the future of educations? What's your
Yeah,
opinion on that?
I'm going to be very quick. It's very
Yes, yes,
superficial. Going to be very
yes.
superficial. Only as I said, we need. It's going to be online, e-learning or distance learning, and more give responsibility to the student to
Mhm.
um, to have his individual learning, and also be close, work close to the industry.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am. This is actually very nice discussions. We find very good outcome, specifically European education system. We find out the beauty of research, why research is important, and how they can integrate it with the industry.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we get at least the idea for next 5 years. And
Yeah.
specifically from the audience, they have many questions like
You can send
how.
them to me. You can send them to me by email, and I will be
Yes,
very
yes,
happy to answer. You can
yes,
send to my email, the school email, info
yes,
at
yes.
institute.org.
Okay, okay, okay.
Mm.
Definitely, we will promote your organizations, and definitely the World Talent Economy Forum want to do more work with you and your institutions,
With
because
pleasure.
we need more positive people like you, and who can change human being, who can change the attitudes. And
Yes.
with your contributions, it will be really effective for us. So thank you, ma'am, for
Thank you
your
very much.
time and everything. Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Yes.